these images now of the convoy of the American president as it heads towards 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. Joining me from there is Aishwarya Paliwal. She's tracking this Modi-Biden meeting. Aishwarya Paliwal, security must be at a peak. I mean, as peak can be. Just the fact that Joe Biden is here would have sent all of Delhi into a frenzy. Now you've got leaders of so many other countries and institutes here as well, 43 in total. Describe how it's like to be in central Delhi at the moment.
Well, Rahul, what you are saying is true. Just look at the number of vehicles that one can see. The one vehicle that you see here, the levels of barricades that have been put up. The number that we have, Rahul, is more than 130,000 police personnel have been deployed. And the convoy of the President of the United States just left from here, which means that in the next 1 minute, it will be reaching the house of the Prime Minister of our country. The security is extremely tight. And from what I hear, we will not be allowed to move from this spot until the next 15 to 20 minutes. So that's the kind of security that one can see. The entire central Delhi region, Rahul, has been fortified. No one can go inside. No one can come outside. You all need passes. But now, from now till the next 1 year, for now, till the time, we see him going back, this is the kind of security arrangements that will be put in place for at least the next 1 hour.
To do if you're anywhere near the capital is to stay at home, watch India Today. Do not, under any circumstances, venture towards central Delhi. You could get caught in the longest security quagmire, and therefore it's just best to stay home, turn your television on, watch the news if you like, watch something else if you don't like the news. Hopefully you do like the news if you're here, and just do that, because that's far more useful than to try and go out and say bahar chal ke dekhte kya ho raha hai, because that would not be such a smart idea. We're being told that Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, will be here in a short while from now, as also will Li Qiang, the Chinese Premier. Justin Trudeau, last time he came, wasn't the most popular man in town. Li Qiang most certainly will not be the most popular man in town. So those two will compete, but I think Li Qiang will win by a fair margin. How is it going to be Li Qiang at this moment? Vivek Kaju, given the fact that you know that your president isn't here, you aren't the heavyweight in the country, you're here virtually as his emissary. He's not a flyweight, but he's not a heavyweight either. And you know that your hosts are deeply suspicious of your every move, every statement, and they think that you're out to obstruct them and trip them.
I'm sure it's a very uncomfortable position for him to be in. But let's not underrate the weight of China.
Sure.
In G20. I know that we are not happy with them. I know the adversarial relationship, but that is precisely why we should be very wary, but at the same time be conscious that China's rise is an established fact, that the Americans too are deeply concerned about where China is today. After all, they are the second largest economy and poised to overtake the United States. They've also become a science power. It doesn't make me happy to say all this, but it's just that
Let's say they may not overtake the United States now. Given the implosion in their economy, there are lots of estimates internationally saying they may not, but we don't know. I mean, that's a long race, and China is undisputedly, as you're saying, a formidable economy. But their economy currently is in quite a flux.
Yes, Rahul, you are absolutely right. They are going through a difficult economic phase. The only submission I'm making is that we cannot wish away China. There is an adversarial relationship. While our relationship with the United States is most important, and while we should leverage every relationship to serve our strategic interests, and our strategic interests and those of the Chinese do not coincide. We are
Veena Sikri has a hand up. I hope that you're going to provide a counter and that you're saying that China's economy is much worse off than Vivek Kaju would have us believe. You're on mute, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, I would certainly point out that a very, very serious reports about the situation in the Chinese economy are emerging. One cannot dismiss all of those reports as minimal. And secondly, we have seen reports even of the annual Beidaihe meeting where very seasoned Japanese reporters have commented that...
But let me ask you, Ina Sikri, about that report. And I just want to explain to our viewers, this came out in Nikkei in Japan, which said that Chinese elders were unhappy. Those who'd been members of the CCP, they were unhappy with the manner in which Xi Jinping was handling the Chinese economy. And the suggestion was that that's part of the reason why she thought it's better to stay home, deal with the mess in the economy than to be out. But the fact is, given that nothing really comes out of China, is that report even credible, Ina Sikri?
Well, of course, there will always be two views on such reports. But the very fact that Xi Jinping is missing the first G20 meeting ever since he came to power in 2012 would mean that he has given it very serious thought. Now, is it entirely just to spite India that he is missing the G20 meeting? Or is it because he has other serious problems within his country to attend to, very similar to the kind of serious problems that President Putin is facing?
But can I just step in to say that a lot of Indians are taking it personally, saying that, okay, Xi Jinping hasn't come, he's not playing along, he's not wanting India to succeed. But and I want to go across to Michael Bosique on this, because in the way that a lot of the Americans are seeing it, they say it's because he didn't want to come face to face with Joe Biden, given their growing differences. He thought it will be uncomfortable. So it's not just a spite to India, it's also because he didn't want to come face to face with the American president that he's chosen to stay away. And as I say that, I want to tell our viewers that these are live images from 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, where in a moment from now we'll hopefully see images of President Joe Biden being received by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Michael Bosique, take it away.
Yeah, I do agree with that to a certain extent, that perhaps the two Xi Jinping didn't want to come face to face with Mr. Biden. But having said that, there have been very, very many senior bilateral meetings between the United States and China recently, on the trade and commerce level, foreign affairs, that sort of thing. But if I may, the other thing is, of course, there are serious, deep problems in the Chinese economy. And I should also remind you, at the BRICS summit in Johannesburg recently, Xi Jinping was not present at one of the opening panels, so he probably has a lot on his plate. But if I can quickly throw in here one more thing, with China being absent, hopefully there'll be more discussion, open discussion on the war in Ukraine, which is becoming a global war, affecting a lot of big economies, including India. And I do have to express the hope that, if there's any country that knows the importance of territorial sovereignty and territorial integrity, it's India. And I hope that India will maybe perhaps be swayed a little bit to take a more firm stance on the Ukraine war, more supportive of Ukraine, because again, it is becoming a global war, weaponization of food, migration, energy. That would be some outcome out of the bilaterals and out of this summit.